Why is it so cold?
You got cold hands again?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Well, the heat is off again because it's 68.
That's terrible. Is it going to turn
No,
on
no, no.
if it goes too low?
If it goes like 2 degrees down.
He has a clementine.
I've never prayed for colder temperatures more. Please drop, please drop.
It's like, never again, please.
Start working. Look,
I have like a piece of one.
I know. Oh, it's like 10:03. Good morning, Hopesprings. Woo!
You can just stay standing.
What? Too much? I got a too much out of my own mother. What is this? What is this world? Maybe it's too loud. Yeah. Silly Super Bowl, I want to. Ooh. I got caught. Yeah.
Good morning, Hopesprings. Morning. Good to see everyone. Hope you found a spot out there. I know the snow is just not going away. Stay warm. For those of you that are visiting today, we just want to welcome you. And those of you that have been here but have not signed up on Facebook or anything like that, there's a little QR code in front of you. There's also a little a number you can text. You'll get text updates and things like that, like if we're going to change to a Saturday evening service because, you know, the snow, like we did a couple weeks ago. But anyway, so scan that. You can also give online through that code and everything. Coming up, Warmer Thoughts, Wednesday, February 25th, Soup Night. 6 p.m. here. It's been a while since we just had soup. I miss it. It's the season. So bring a side or a pot of your favorite soup. And then again, that's 6 p.m. Wednesday, February 25th. Hope Kids. I'm going to read this because it's really long. It looks like it's important. Just a reminder to please keep your kids kindergarten and older in the sanctuary with you until after the music, at which point we will gladly kick them out for Hope Kids. Until then, this is Pastor Nick. I'm just reading it. It's not safe for them to be upstairs or in the basement unsupervised. Kids younger than kindergarten are welcome to sit with you as well, though Hope Sprouts is available for the entirety of the gathering if you'd like to kick them out early. And the Sprouts is in the back over there. This month for Slater Family Network, we're collecting feminine hygiene products and shaving items to go to our neighbors in need, and you can drop them in the container in the back of the sanctuary. Also, we're collecting non-perishable, non-freezable food items for the food box out in the front, so you can drop those back. Also, last week, if you were not here, we did something a little different when we did our celebration of our 20 years, our conspiration. We don't pass the offering plate here very often, but when we do it not the normal way. So what we did was we passed out an offering. And what we challenged everyone to do was take one of these. Every single one of these envelopes has $10 in it. And we wanted you to go out into the community and bless someone with it. It was a way we tithe to our community, different organizations. This was our tithe back community, so we want to empower you, people at Hope Springs, to go out and bless others. So if you weren't here last week, or if you had a blast doing it and you have another person to bless, come up here. We're going to leave these over here at the end of the gathering. You can grab a couple or whatever. They'll be on the side. Each one has $10 in it. And today we're going to have Tom Lacey come up and read the psalm.
Good morning. Psalm 20. In times of trouble, may the Lord answer your cry. May the name of the God of Jacob keep you safe from all harm. May he send you help from his sanctuary and strengthen you from Jerusalem. May he remember all your gifts and look favorably on your burnt offerings. May he grant your heart's desires and make all your plans succeed. May we shout for joy when we hear of our victory and raise a victory banner in the name of our God. May the Lord answer all your prayers. Now I know that the Lord rescues his anointed king. He will answer him from his holy heaven and rescue him by his great power. Some nations boast of their chariots and horses, but we boast in the name of the Lord our God. Those nations will fall down and collapse, but we will rise up and stand firm. Give victory to our King, O Lord. Answer our cry for help.
We'll continue with worship. Lord, I find you in the seeking. Lord, I find you in the doubt, and to know you is to love you, and to know so little else. I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you. Oh, how I need you.
Spirit of heaven, there is nothing like your love. There is nothing like your love. There is nothing like your love. Oh Lord of heaven, there is nothing like your love. There is nothing like your love. There is nothing like your love. Your love is making space. Your heart is generosity. You made an open place beside you. Your love is running free. Your heart is calling out to me. You made an open place beside you. Is making space. Your heart is generosity. You made an open place beside you. Your love is running free. Your heart is calling out to me. You made an open place beside you. Your love is making space. Your heart is generosity. You made an open place beside you. Your love is running free. Your heart is calling out to me. You made an open place beside you. Little heaven, there is nothing like your love. There is nothing like your love. There is nothing like your love.
When my heart is weary, when my soul is weak, when it seems I can't traverse the trail before me, I survey the glory of your agony, and I find the will to fight for what's before me.
you ran the race, enduring for your glory. And I fix my eyes on you, the founder and the finisher of our faith. And I fix my eyes on you, the solace in your suffering is my strength. It is my strength. As I fight to follow, you're my righteous guide, and you train me to delight in all that's holy. You're my broken body, cure my crooked stride, throw off every weight and sin that clings so closely. I will run the race, enduring for your glory. And I fix my eyes on you, the founder and the finisher of our faith. And I fix my eyes on you, the solace in your suffering is my strength. You help me breathe, you're the only life I need. You died for me, you're the only life I need. You help me breathe, you're the only life I need. You died for me, you're the only life I need. You help me breathe, you're the only life I need. You died for me, you're the only life I need. You help me breathe, you're the only life I need. You died for me, you're the only life I need. And I fix my eyes on you, the founder and the finisher of our faith. And I fix my eyes on you, the solace in your suffering is my strength, and you're my strength.
All right. Good morning, Hopesprings. We've reached that moment that we warned you was coming. Hope kids, you guys are free to go. If you are kindergarten through 6th grade, we've got some awesome stuff for you in the back. Kindergarten through 3rd grade goes downstairs. Oh, actually, not today. Kindergarten through 3rd grade goes upstairs with Miss Gabby. 4th through 6 goes to that room in the back. Some of you guys may have noticed we redecorated a little bit, and we've got a sign to keep the door closed. We are in the midst of the basement remodel. Floors are going in. We got some glue that needs to dry. We're trying to keep them warm. Pretty exciting stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool. We got a crew coming in to do this, but Rob and Joe still have done an awful lot, moved some things around. Chris showed up to help. I timed it just right. I got here to help move stuff, and they were like, "We're done." I was like, though I did come when the time said in the text. So we got a pool table. We're kind of shuffling around to get out of the way of the floor. Rob, we moving that today? You want guys? Nope, it stays. Okay, things have to dry. So that'll come. All right. As ever, though, if you have kids that are younger than kindergarten with you today, you do whatever makes you comfortable. We're not kicking them out, but if you are looking for a nursery, Hope Sprouts in the back corner there is fantastic, and you are welcome to drop them off. All right, and I think my face has thawed off enough that I can preach now. I first got in here and I was like, I don't know if I could, but it's nice and warm in here, isn't it? New boiler, new chimney, gas line, pretty nice stuff, isn't it? God's taking good care of us. So, you guys remember back in 2016? I know some of you are young enough you don't remember that, but back in 2016, there was this thing called Pizzagate that made the news, where this kind of internet rumor started that all these high-level government officials had a secret child sex trafficking ring, and that the locus of the operation was this family-friendly pizza place in Washington, D.C. called Comet Ping Pong. And people really started to, like, this was going around the internet, and part of the rumor here, part of the theory was that there was a basement, and that the pizza shop was a front, and that the basement was where the worst stuff really happened. And this was going around these chat rooms, and people were, and a lot of political people they didn't like were getting, lumped in with this, and it's a popular place, it's in DC, and so you see photos of, you get this person, you say, oh, this person's up to no good, and you're like, and look, they eat pizza, and people go, oh, and this person's up to no good, and they eat pizza too, and you go, oh. And so it got to the point where this guy named Edgar Madison Welch drove himself up there, I think from Virginia, he wasn't that far, loaded a gun, came busting in there, fired some shots through the door of what turned out to be a cleaning supply closet, and rescued nobody, because it turns out that Comet Ping Pong never even had a basement to hide people in. Sadly, it apparently was a mansion in Florida and not a pizza place in DC, but which is just really tragic, all this stuff in the news right now. But the thing about it, I just remember when that hit the news, everyone was going, he's crazy. And it turns out, yeah, he was crazy. Like, he's just, the dude wasn't doing very well. He's no longer with us. He went to jail. He got out of jail, pulled a gun at a routine traffic stop, and he's not around anymore. That's how that goes. He was not in touch with reality. But I remember when I heard that story, just thinking, the immediate thing was to go, oh, obviously he's just crazy. But it's not like, to some extent, his behavior could be considered rational, right? Because here's the thing, if you legitimately believe that there is a pizza parlor where kids are being held and abused, the reasonable thing to do is to try to rescue them, isn't it? And if you honestly believe that nobody else is doing anything about it because the people who are running it are too powerful, it might be reasonable for you to take the risk of running in there and kicking down the door and trying to help, right? That he wasn't completely out of touch with reality. I mean, maybe he was, I don't know. It sounds like he had some struggles. But in terms of that one story, it may be that he was just tragically very wrong, right? That if he was right in his thinking, if he was right in his assumptions, his behavior would actually have kind of made sense, wouldn't it? Now, I don't know that running in there with a gun going, was like the best plan. You might have tried to like peek around a little bit or something first. I don't know how much he thought he put into it before he just went for it. Sounds like not much, but nevertheless, it kind of, if you actually thought that was what was happening, his behavior is at least, it makes a little bit of sense, right? To try to do something, to try to help. And the trouble here, and this is what I kind of want you to think about a little bit today, is that what he didn't do was he didn't doubt his doubts. He didn't doubt his doubts. Tim Keller says that to be intellectually honest and fair, what you need to do is to doubt your doubts. It's actually good for us. He says to take seriously your own doubts, to take seriously the doubts of others, and to consider them. It kind of like builds antibodies to inoculate us, that if you do this, if you kind of think through your doubts and treat them honestly and those of other people, then when you have a hard time, when something doesn't make sense, when you face a hard question, you'll have a faith that's more likely to stand. But if you just never really think about those things, the first time your life falls apart or you encounter an idea you've never thought before, you think, oh, well, and your faith just starts to fall apart on you. And so it's actually really good. It's in that song today, right? What was the line? Lord, I find you in the seeking, I find you in my doubt. It's actually good to doubt our doubts. And what Keller says is the only way to doubt Christianity rightly and fairly is to discern the alternate belief under each of your doubts, and then ask yourself what reasons you have for believing it. And that's the deal, right? To doubt your doubts is to pay attention to, well, if I doubt this, what is it that I actually believe? Because every doubt is a form of faith in something else, right? Like, so you say, oh, I doubt the existence of God. Okay, well, what do you actually think then? What do you actually believe? And do you have actually a really good reason to believe that? Do you have a better reason to believe that God doesn't exist than I have to believe that he does? There's no faithlessness. You're putting your faith into something. I actually think sometimes it takes a lot more faith to not believe in God than to believe in him, given the evidence. But you're putting your faith into something. And so doubting your doubts gets you to look at, okay, if I don't believe this, what do I believe? Or if this person I'm talking to doesn't believe this, what do they believe? And then to honestly consider that and go, well, is there actually a better reason to think that than to think what I'm thinking? Is there actually a better reason to think what I'm thinking than to think this other thing that I doubt? And so I want to invite you today to doubt your doubts. Every church is trying to be faithful. Let's be doubtful. Hopesprings, the doubtful church. That's what we're going to do today. I think it'll be kind of fun. And so this is how those conspiracy theories work, right? You know, if you say, well, birds aren't real, because obviously birds aren't real. The internet says so. And so birds aren't real. You go, okay, birds aren't real. You go, well, what do you think that they are? But you're right, but that's not how that, what happens is you get these theories and you go, well, you notice that there's all this surveillance now and there's birds. And you're like, oh, they're government drones. And you go, oh, and you think birds poop. You go, yeah. You go, when was the last time you saw poop on your windshield? And you're like, I can't remember the last time I saw poop on my windshield. You're like, they must be robots, right? Obviously, that's the conclusion. Well, what's the deal, right? You get it. You create this, and it's a bad form of reasoning where you go, if this doesn't exist, well, then whatever I'm saying must be the truth, right? If God isn't like this, then there must be no God. You're like, wait, no, like, that's not necessarily option set, right? Like, why do I think that? And so if you don't think birds exist, you have to say, well, what do you think? And you think, well, did they exist in the Middle Ages? People wrote about birds. Well, at some point, all the birds died, and they were quietly replaced by government surveillance robots. Nobody really noticed, and now birds don't exist. They're all just, kind of, and then we imagine them because we're so used to seeing them. So you think that you see birds where you don't really see birds because it's just kind of built into our subconscious. You can come up with all these reasons, right? But is it more reasonable to think that birds are all robots or all illusions, or to think that there's just these flying little feathered mammals that do occasionally poop on my car? I think that one, right, makes the most sense. So you go, you can get me to doubt this stuff, but what I ought to actually do, though, is say, well, is the doubt, like, is the alternative actually more reasonable than what I'm thinking? And if it is, then maybe you change your mind. But if it isn't, then you go, okay, like, maybe I don't have complete certainty, but this is still like a better explanation than the one you're giving me. So I'm going to stick with this, right? And so that's what it looks like to kind of doubt your doubts. And that's why people get suckered by all this stuff. You go, oh, well, you poke some holes in it, and then it's like, so obviously, the youth a few weeks ago did hear me out presentations just for fun. They built these PowerPoints, and Alex explained to us how the pyramids, like they're all in line, and so they couldn't, ancient Egyptians just had sticks, so obviously aliens, right? And you're like, but that's a big jump, right? Like, aliens is a big statement of faith. And if I go, what reason do you have to suspect that aliens built them? And you're like, well, they line up with some stars. Like, now it doesn't sound like as convincing, right? As it does if you just start pointing out, like, why maybe you doubt the Egyptians could have pulled this off. To go, so obviously, whatever, right? And so that's what we want to do. And I think the place where people in this culture kind of do this all the time, because it doesn't have to be an internet conspiracy theory. It's just bad reasoning, and we all reason badly more often than we want to admit, especially when we don't want to think what reason would actually lead us to think. And so we all have these things that we don't really think through very well, that if we really stop and paid attention, we might start to come to some different conclusions. And but I think one in our culture that you hear people do all the time is actually the existence of God, right? That you people kind of, this argument, and it's an old argument, been around so long it has a name. It's called a theodicy. A theodicy is an argument for the existence of a good and powerful God in the face of evil and suffering. And the reason why people still write theodicies is because, there's not just this hard, fast, satisfactory answer that you go, oh, no wonder we suffer. No wonder my arm fell off. No wonder I'm sick, right? You don't get those sorts of answers in this life. And so people go, well, where's God in this? And is he good? And is he powerful? And so the assumption is that because evil and suffering exists, that God either doesn't exist, or he's not that good, or he's not that powerful. And but that's a bad way to reason, right? Because what you have to do then is you have to doubt your doubt. You have to go, okay, well, what do you think exists if it's not a good and powerful God? And do you actually have a good reason to think that? Even if it's nothing, right? Even if you think, well, the natural world is all there is. You just die and then you just go away. Well, that is a pretty profound statement of faith. Why are you so sure about that, right? And do you have a good reason to think that? And the reason for God, Keller, he has just a great example of this. I'll kind of gloss it for you here. This is what he says. He says, what you want to do is kind of pay attention to actually think less about proofs and more about clues. Think about kind of cosmic clues and which way do they point you. And he says, so the first clue is the existence of the world, the Big Bang. This is someone a secular person would rightly say, well, that doesn't actually prove God exists. Maybe the Big Bang just kind of caused itself. And that's true, right? The fact that the universe came into existence doesn't on its own prove God. That there's other ways you think, well, maybe it just is, who knows? You'd think it had to come from somewhere, but it doesn't mean it had to come from God. It could, maybe we're all a computer simulation. It's hard to say. On its own, that doesn't prove much. But then he says the second clue is the fine-tuning of the universe, the 1 in a trillion chance that our universe supports organic human life. But again, you can say, well, maybe we just lucked out. Maybe there's just so much out there that it happened somewhere, and it's happened here. On its own, that doesn't mean God exists, and that's true, right? On its own, that doesn't prove God. And he says another one is the regularity of nature. All of our science, our inductive reasoning is based on the assumption that nature will kind of keep performing regularly, even though we don't have any real reason to assume that it will. You expect the sun to come up every day. It always has. It probably will tomorrow, but why is it so consistent, right? Again, that doesn't prove God. Another clue is beauty and meaning. That we look out on the world, we all seem to think it's beautiful. We are meaning-making machines. We can't live without meaning, right? I mean, we want the world to mean something. If your friend says, oh, I'm broke and I don't have lunch, that's easy, right? You just buy them pizza. But if your friend says the meaning, the poetry, the magic has gone out of my life, that worries you. That one's tough. That one's like tea and sympathy time, right? That one's more dangerous than I'm broke, because you can make more money, but if you lose the meaning in your life, in fact, Viktor Frankl wrote a whole book about it, Man's Search for Meaning, for his observations from the concentration camp he was in World War II, that the people who lost meaning just lay down and died. And the people who had a reason to live were far more likely to. It's essential to us, and yet without God, it's difficult to explain why we have such a need for meaning and beauty and goodness. You can, again, does it on its own prove God? Well, no, it doesn't. You can explain all this through evolutionary theory. You can say that our religious, our moral, our intuitions towards beauty and meaning were all just ways to keep us alive. The problem with that is your assumption is that delusion helped us survive, and all my evidence is that being in touch with reality helps us survive. But I guess you can make that argument, but ultimately leaves you in this kind of meaningless universe. And on its own, I mean, it doesn't mean that God has to exist or be who He says He is. But then this is what He says. Well, that and the fact that if we do think these things because we're deluded, how can we even believe that we're wrong about them now? Like, why should we believe anything we think? That's a problem too, isn't it? And so he says, here's where we land then. If we believe God exists, then our view of the universe gives us a basis for believing that we can actually see and observe it decently well, and that it does have meaning, and that it does have beauty. It gives us a basis to think that we can have knowledge and understanding. It explains why there was a Big Bang and the universe came into existence. It explains why the universe is fine-tuned to create human life in almost impossible odds. It explains the regularity of nature. It makes sense of all these things. None of these on their own prove God. But if you don't believe in God, these things not only are inexplicable, but your view that there is no God would actually lead you not to expect any of them. You should be surprised by every one of those things. And so what you have to ask is not, can you prove God? This doesn't prove God, therefore he doesn't exist. What you have to do is you have to look at the clues and say, what is actually the most reasonable thing to believe here? And do I have a better reason to think that the universe is an accident than I do to think that it was made? Do I have a better reason to think that the universe is meaningless than to think that it actually has profound meaning and beauty and value? What actually makes the most sense here, given the evidence? And when we come to doubt our doubts, we, I think, begin to see things much better and much more clearly. And so Habakkuk today is going to doubt his doubts. We are going through the book of Habakkuk at this moment, and we started with the first chapter last week. Hold on here. This thing's giving me a hard time. All right. So we started on the book of Habakkuk last week. This week and next week we'll go through it. Habakkuk's 3 chapters, a prophet of Israel. We talked about he was late 7th century, right as Assyria was fading, the first real kind of like empire. And Babylon is on the rise, but it's not sure probably at this moment that they're going to pull it off, though they do. And Habakkuk doubts his doubts. And if you remember last week, chapter 1, Habakkuk, he's the backwards prophet. He's the doubtful prophet. All the other prophets talk to people about God. Habakkuk talks to God about the people. All the other prophets say, "Thus saith the Lord," and Habakkuk asks questions he doesn't have good answers to. Habakkuk's a lot of fun. He kind of fits our vibe. And so Habakkuk goes to God, and he says, "Look, God, like, there's so much evil. Why do I have to behold this in Israel, or in Judea and Jerusalem? What are you going to do?" And God says, "Don't worry. The Babylonians are coming. Nobody knew, but they're gonna take over everything. They're going to roll over and crush you, and then justice will be done." And then Habakkuk goes, "But God, that's not fair. We're more righteous than them. How can you punish us with someone who's worse than we are?" And when we left him, he said he had gone to stand and wait and see what God would say to him and how he would correct him. And that's where we're going to pick up today with chapter 2. Habakkuk he's going to doubt his doubts. He's asking these hard questions. He's going to hear from God when we jump in here today. And so pray with me, please. Well, God, I pray that this morning that we just be a doubtful church in the best of ways. To doubt our doubts, to be honest, to be rigorous, not just to check our brains and believe, not just try to work up a faith that's just kind of feeling enthusiasm but has no real ground, but to take these things seriously, to ask real questions, to learn to live in the tension of not having certainty on every single thing, to realize that you are beyond us and that there's things you just don't and cannot tell us, and we have to come to trust you, but to do that because we know that you are good, because we know that you are here, because we know that you are able, because we know that you love us, and to be able to trust you out of the relationship that we have with you. And so may we be doubtful in the very best of ways today. Let's pray for understanding today. It's so important, our minds, that there would be a lot of people today that we would just kind of see things maybe we hadn't seen before, have thoughts we hadn't thought, understand things more clearly, that it would make sense to us increasingly. To trust in you. And God, we pray that this wouldn't just be, though, an intellectual exercise, not merely our minds, not just kind of an abstract philosophical discussion, about meaning and purpose, but that we would be alive to your presence because it is you. It's you, your reality, it's your presence, it's your love, it's your voice in our life, your spirit in our souls that answers these questions better than anything we know. And so, God, may we ask these questions in the reality of your presence. May we be alive to you who fill all the space between us and to the kingdom of the heavens that is all around us. Give us eyes to see and ears to hear. Prepare our hearts and our minds for what it is you have to speak to us and through us this morning. May we all come to believe that you and birds are real. Amen. So, birds show up in Genesis. God made them at some point. There you go. There's your faith statement. So Habakkuk, he's going to begin then. We're going to pick up where we left off. I'm going to read the first verse again. Habakkuk says, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to climb up into my watchtower, stand at my guard post, and I will wait to see what the Lord will say and how he will answer my complaint. Another way to read that in the Hebrew is how he will correct me when I'm reproved. That he expects he's questioned God's goodness. He expects that God's going to put him straight here. And so this is what God says. Verse 2, then the Lord said to me, write my answer plainly on tablets, so that a runner can carry the correct message to others. This vision is for a future time. It describes the end. It will be fulfilled. If it seems slow in coming, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. Look at the proud. They trust in themselves, and their lives are crooked. But the righteous will live by their faithfulness to God. Another way to translate that, the way it most often is brought across, is that the righteous will live by their faith. Wealth is treacherous. The arrogant are never at rest. They open their mouths as wide as the grave. Like death, they are never satisfied. In their greed, they have gathered up many nations and swallowed many peoples. What does God say? The righteous will live by faith. Look at how the proud live. It's not a better solution. Wealth is treacherous. The arrogant never find rest. Their mouths are wide like the grave. The grave, Sheol, it's never full. Can always eat another soul. It turns out souls are like Jell-O. You can just always fit one more. It's always hungry for the dead. Like death, they're never satisfied. In their greed, they gather up all these nations and they just swallow people up. He's talking about Babylon, but he's also talking about the proud versus the righteous who live by faith. And so the first thing to notice here, and I think this is actually key to Habakkuk, the first thing to notice here, and we should be amazed at this, these first 5 verses, we're so eager to jump into what they mean, is just that the God who is sovereign over these nations, who has brought Assyria up and down, who protected Jerusalem from the Assyrians, who is now raising up the Babylonians, the God who runs the whole world, meets with Habakkuk to have a conversation. Habakkuk expects him to come answer him, and he does. He just shows up and talks with him about it, which is an amazing thing. It is the kinds of kings that Assyria and Babylon have. It is prime ministers and presidents who don't have time for people like us because they're doing important things. God has plenty of time to have a conversation with you. In fact, he wants to. It may matter more to him than the rise and fall of nations. This seems to be at the heart of what God wants to do. That's amazing. God's doing all this stuff. And Habakkuk goes, God! And God says, well, let me tell you. We don't deserve that. He doesn't have to do that. He wants to. He wants to have a conversation with us. He wants to have a conversation with you. I got another good Keller line the other week that I thought this was great. It says that the only person with the audacity to wake a king at 3 a.m., because they're thirsty for a glass of water, and get away with it, is a little child. It's the only person who can do that. We have that kind of access to God. In fact, Jesus tells us if we won't come to him like a little child, we can't come to him at all. And if what you think is that he's just not that interested in you, that he's too busy with these big things, that you're just not that important, that you're not good enough, that you're not holy enough, that you're not special enough, your problem is that you're not coming to him like a little child. And that's why you're not getting to him. Because that's how we get to come. That's what Jesus did for us. That's what God wants with you, is that kind of relationship. It's an amazing thing. And it is the key, I think, to understanding what Habakkuk is talking about here and the center of his message. Because Habakkuk comes to God like a little child, doesn't he? Comes to him just like a child. He goes, God, they're being bad. Right? And God says, I'm going to punish you. And he's like, but it's not fair. And then he goes, now I'm going to wait for God to correct me. He's a child. Like, he's totally, Dallas Willard says the only person on earth who's more presumptuous than Jesus is a little child. Jesus was very presumptuous. Little children even more so. You know, and that's, Habakkuk comes to him like a child, the way God wants us to come to him. And God meets him and answers him. And what he tells him then is this. Look, I'm going to tell you, because I want you to write it. Make it plain as day. It's not confusing. It should be easy. Someone running can read it, so that you just announce it out. The vision's going to come. It's for the future. If you have to wait, don't doubt it, but it won't be delayed. It's coming right on time. And so here's the message. Look at the proud. They trust in themselves and their lives are crooked, but the righteous live by faith. That's it. That's the message. Look at the proud. Their lives suck. The righteous live by faith. Pretty good message, isn't it? God, it's not fair. Look at the proud. The righteous trust me. And their lives are good. And if you look in general, you'll see that that is true. This verse is so incredibly important. If you've never read Habakkuk, if this is your first time and you're like, never really paid attention to Habakkuk before. I don't hear a lot of people in churches being like, Habakkuk, you know? He doesn't get a ton of press. This verse gets quoted by Paul in Romans 1:17. It's the basis of his kind of, really Romans is built on this idea that the righteous live by faith and they're declared righteous by their faith. It comes up in Galatians and it comes up in the book of Hebrews. It would be, you could not overestimate the importance of those three books to the Christian theology. If you've never heard of Habakkuk, this prophecy, if you are a Christian, has shaped your understanding of God, because it shaped Paul's understanding of God, and it's why you believe in the God that you believe in the way that you do. This line is incredibly important. The rabbis, the Jewish tradition knew this. Jewish tradition was that there were 613 laws in the Pentateuch. I think if you went and tried to count them yourself, you would probably struggle to come up with that number, but at some point they tried to count them all and they decided there's 613. And Jewish tradition was that the 613 laws of the Pentateuch had been reduced to one by Habakkuk. The proud trust in themselves and have bad lives, and the righteous live by faith. That's it. He writes it on a tablet. You pick up that metaphor, Moses, right? This is, put it on a tablet, make it readable, tell the people, this is it. And so it's this really just powerful prophecy. And this is what it is. That's it. The proud trust in themselves, they have bad lives, the righteous live by faith. And so now he's going to unpack that for the rest of the book. And where he's going to begin is not with the righteous. We're going to get to that next week in chapter 3. But with the proud and the wicked. And he's going to doubt their doubts. He's going to look at them and say, look at what they do. It doesn't actually work that well. Look at their answers to the problem. It doesn't answer the problem. Because the central problem is what? It's that. It's meaning. It's suffering. It's pain. It's death. It's the fact that you will die. Everything you make will wear out. Everyone you know and love will die. The sun will turn cold. The earth will shrink up into this dark ball of meaningless matter. If there is no God, nothing ultimately really matters. And so all human religion and all human philosophy begins from the place of our meaning, our quest for meaning, from our suffering, from our pain, from our inevitable death, right? All religions try to answer these questions, all philosophies. Stoicism is about how to deal with that. Socialism is about how to deal with that. Buddhism is about how to deal with that. And that's why you hear people say, and it's entirely backwards, you hear people say that, well, all roads kind of lead to the same place. All roads are trying to get to God. Well, that's exactly not true. It's 180 degrees the opposite, that all roads begin from the same place. They all begin from the human condition. But where they go from that is very different. The way they answer that problem is very different. The righteous live by faith, but the proud live meanly and poorly and have lives that are crooked. But they're all trying to deal with that central question that Habakkuk has asked. God, will you do good? Will you put things right? Will you save us? Where is the meaning in our lives? Why must we suffer? That's kind of the question. And so he says, look, there's two different ways to answer this. There's the righteous and the proud. And so he's going to begin by looking at the proud. And so this is what he says then, starting in verse 6. And he's talking about Babylon. Babylon's going to come, and they're going to conquer everything, and they're going to tear the temple down, and they're going to haul everyone who's left in Jerusalem and Judea off into captivity for 70 years. And he says this. We'll start in verse 5 again. Wealth is treacherous. The arrogant are never at rest. They open their mouths as wide as the grave. Like death, they're never satisfied. In their greed, they gather up many nations and swallowed many peoples. But soon their captives will taunt them. They will mock them, saying, "What sorrow awaits you, thieves? Now you will get what you deserve. You've become rich by extortion. But how much longer can this go on? Suddenly your debtors will take action. They will turn on you and take all you have while you stand trembling and helpless. Because you have plundered many nations, now all the survivors will plunder you. You committed murder throughout the countryside and filled the towns with violence." We're going to go back and kind of look at these, but there's 5 woes here, and that was the first one. The way this is translating, it's just one word in Hebrew. It's hoy. Isn't that great? There's oi and there's hoy. Oi is like you're in trouble. Hoy comes from mourning the dead. And so when a prophet says hoy, it means you're already, like it's too late. You're going to suffer this thing. So I'm proclaiming this and mourning for you as if it's already happened, as if it's already come. And so all of these are hoys. Isaiah has 6 hoys. Habakkuk has 5. Isaiah 5 has a list of these too. But and so the way this translates it is what sorrow awaits you. And so when you see that, it's one of the woes. And so he says this. The first one then, what sorrow awaits you, thieves? Now you will get what you deserve. You become rich by extortion. How much longer can this go on? Verse 7, suddenly your debtors will take action. They will turn on you and take all you have while you stand trembling and helpless. Because you have plundered many nations, now all the survivors will plunder you. You committed murder throughout the countryside and filled the towns with violence. Verse 9, what sorrow awaits you? Hoy, who build big houses. Sounds very Jewish, doesn't it? Hoy, with money gained dishonestly. That's Hebrew. You believe your wealth will buy security, putting your family's nest beyond the reach of danger. But by the murders you committed, you have shamed your name and forfeited your lives. The very stones in the walls cry out against you, and the beams in the ceilings echo the complaint. What sorrow awaits you who build cities with money gained through murder and corruption? Has not the Lord of heaven's armies promised that the wealth of nations will turn to ashes? They work so hard, but all in vain. For as the waters fill the sea, the earth will be filled with the awareness of the glory of the Lord. What sorrow awaits you who make your neighbors drunk? You force your cup on them so you can gloat over their shameful nakedness. Soon it will be your turn to be disgraced. Come, drink and be exposed. Drink from the cup of the Lord's judgment. All your glory will be turned to shame. You cut down the forests of Lebanon. Now you will be cut down. You destroyed the wild animals. Now their terror will be yours. You committed murder throughout the countryside and filled the towns with violence. And then, what good is an idol carved by man, or a cast image that deceives you? How foolish to trust in your own creation, a God that can't even talk. What sorrow awaits you who say to wooden idols, "Wake up and save us." To speechless stone images you say, "Rise up and teach us." Can an idol tell you what to do? They may be overlaid with gold and silver, but they are lifeless on the inside. But the Lord is in his holy temple. Let all the earth be silent before him. And so what Habakkuk is doing here is he's looking at Babylon, and he's saying, okay, Habakkuk, here's the deal. Righteous live by faith. Proud don't live that well. Babylon is coming to punish you, but then Babylon themselves will be torn down. And Babylon just fixes itself in the Hebrew imagination. It shows up in Revelation as a symbol for empires of the world. It gets brought up over and over. It shows up in Daniel. It goes back to Babel at the very beginning in Genesis. If you were here for our Advent series, you might remember. So this is talking about Babylon, but it's also just talking about how people respond to the human condition. That Babylon here is what nations just tend to become over and over and over again. Babylon here is what empire looks like over and over and over again. And if you remember, God created, he had this family, and then out of Noah, this table of 70 nations, and those nations all try to get together and build Babel, this city, this empire. And God says, no, we're gonna undo that. And then he chooses this family through Abraham, says, you're going to be the nation among the nations, the people through whom I bless all these other nations. And there's 70 descendants of Jacob come into Egypt. God preserves them to match the 70 nations. He's working on this. So you've got all these nations, but they rise up. They still build towers. They still build Babel. We still try to solve the answer or solve the problem of the human condition on our own. Nations, cities is our way of doing this. And so he trots out this picture of Babylon saying it will be judged. And it's amazing. Babylon ruled far less time than Assyria or Persia after it. Assyria before it, Persia after it. They rose up, came out of the blue, conquered everything, punished Israel. God takes them down. 70 years later, King Cyrus of Persia is sending Israel back to Jerusalem, just like God says he will through Jeremiah. And so you can see God's hand really at work here in this. It's an amazing thing. In fact, he even talks here about them, kind of being drunk. And sure enough, the night that Daniel tells them, the last night of Babylon, when Daniel's like, tonight's it, tomorrow you guys are out, the Persians are coming, there's the king sitting there drinking, getting drunk out of the cup that they took from the temple of the Lord. Kind of an arrogant move. And so Habakkuk seems to see this stuff coming, but he's telling us what nations and empire are like. And so he goes through these 5 woes, and this is what they are. The first one, verses 6 through 8, is wealth. That nations and empires look at the world and they say, well, if we have enough wealth, then we'll be okay. If we have enough wealth, then we'll be secure. And he says, but it doesn't work, because what happens? You pile all this stuff on. This is what Babylon does. It goes through and it takes everybody's stuff, right? It becomes rich, becomes wealthy. And he says you set up this system of borrowing and lending that is just extortion, so that everybody ends up owing you. You take things you're not paying for. You've got this whole system of borrowing and lending that's enriching you and making all these other people poor. One day that's going to come due, and they're going to turn on you. That won't actually save you. But nations say that, don't they? Empires say that. Or the economy, stupid, right? That's the thing that matters. That's the thing that will save us. That's still going on today. What's the next one? The next one is security. So you got wealth and you got security. Woe to those who try to build their house secure like a nest on a perch. This is because now you're alone. You've got no one to help you, and you're going to be brought down. And all the people that you treated badly to secure yourself, they're now your enemies. It won't work. But what do we say? It's national defense. It's we gotta secure things. We gotta strong borders. We gotta big armies. These are the things nations put their faith in, but they won't save you. Now, these things in and of themselves aren't bad things, right? Wealth isn't bad on its own. They're just bad gods. They're bad gods. They won't save you. And so wealth is the first, security is the next, then 12 through 14, violence. What sorrow awaits you who build cities with money gained through murder and corruption? Violence. We just have to be the biggest dog in the fight. We gotta just whoop everybody else and push them around with all our power. Then we'll be okay. What's the next one? Fame and honor. What sorrow awaits you who make your neighbors drunk so you can laugh at their nakedness. You're putting other people down to build yourself up. You're going to face the Lord's judgment. And then the last one is idolatry. You end up, and this is what he says in chapter 1 about Babylon. They worship the nets that make them wealthy. They worship whatever it is that gets them this stuff. And if you pay attention, most of these go through a woe, a what, and a why. A woe, a what, and a why. The third one's a little different. The last one, the idolatry one's really different. But the general kind of way it walks through these is a woe, a what, and a why. And these actually include lots of stuff in Hebrew that you can't say in English. They got alliteration, they got a double entendre, they even have rhyme, which Hebrew almost never employs. These are meant to be mocking. It's kind of like calling somebody, like, give them a nickname that rhymes with their name, right? I don't know. I don't want to say anything because one of you might have that name and then it'll stick. That would be bad, right? You'd say Nick the Ick, right? You're like, oh, he's so icky, and then it's like, oh, just Nick the Ick, and then you can't get rid of it. Just like it's hard to forget, right? It kind of like hangs around your neck. These are taunts, and he tells them in a way that they're catchy, like they'd be hard to forget. Like you could just say them to somebody and it would stick, And so they follow this kind of rhythm or this pattern. You get a woe, a what, and a why. And so if you look at the first one, right, we said that was wealth. What's the woe? Man, you just take in all you can get. You're greedy. It's wealth. And the what is, but you become rich by extortion. This won't last. Your debtors are going to take action against you. And what's the why? Because you plundered many nations, they're going to come and plunder you. They're going to do to you what you've done to them. The next one, the woe. The woe is you try to build this house of security for yourself, and you think your wealth will buy you security. The what is, but you murdered people and pushed other people down to raise yourself up. And the why is the very thing you built will cry out against you. It's just not just or fair. It will fall. The what is, the sorrow awaits you because you do things with violence and murder. The what is, God has actually set it up so that will get you nothing but fire and ash. And the why is, the kind of the punishment, I guess, is as the waters fill the sea, the world will be filled with the glory of the Lord. And you think, well, that one doesn't sound bad. Why is that bad? Well, it's bad if you're not on his side. Because it's going to really frustrate you if you wanted the world to be full of your glory when it actually ends up being full of his. But if you're pulling for him, this is all pretty good news, isn't it? The next one, honor and fame and honor. And so you shame the people around you so that you can gain fame and honor. What happens from that? It says you make them drunk so you can laugh at their nakedness. But you're going to be disgraced because you're going to drink from the cup of the Lord's judgment. And he says, look what you've done to the world. Babylon does this. Empires do this, right? They roll over the world. It says you cut down the forests of Lebanon. Lebanon's trees were famous. The cedars of Lebanon were like the best thing you could build with. They were incredibly valuable in the ancient world. Cedar holds up really well outside. Yeah, and so houses were mostly built out of stone and mud. If you built out of cedar, it was luxurious. It was good stuff. It would last. And Babylon just take it. They didn't care about preserving Lebanon. They didn't care about sustainability. They just cut them down and took them for the glory of Babylon. They killed the animals and were cruel to them. They tormented towns and people. And he says, these things then are going to happen to you. And then the last one, the idol. This one's a little different because this one is kind of the sum of all the others. People sometimes say, like they just make idolatry, like if you love anything too much, it's an idol. I don't know. You're like, I like my car. You're like, oh, don't let it become an idol. I'm like, I don't know many people who are like, oh, Corvette, it's a hot ride, but it's, even if you really like it, it's probably not your God. There's probably somebody, but for the most part, no. What is an idol? These are legitimate things. In fact, if you pay attention to these things, they line up really well with the three core human needs, our three legitimate needs. And if you've been around, you know that they are acceptance, security, and significance. That everything we do is meant to get us acceptance, security, and significance. And that they are legitimate needs. And if they're not being met legitimately, then we go about meeting them in ways that are really unhealthy, right? If you look at the first two with money, has to do with security. The next one, with violence, has to do with significance. And the third one, fame and honor, has to do with acceptance. That we're trying to get these things for ourselves. And because you need those things, you will worship whatever you think will get them for you. Because when they are taken from you, you will do whatever you think you need to do to get them back. And if there's something other than God that you think will give that to you, that is what you will worship. Because you have to have those things. And you will chase down whatever you think takes care of that for you. Whether it's yourself or a nation or an idea or a school or a job or a bank account or fame or just your own aggressive dominance, these things will become idols to you. If you don't think God will do that for you, you will worship something else every time. And then he mocks that. What good will it do you? How foolish to trust in these things. You make them look really good on the outside, but on the inside they're dead. They can't even speak. They can't instruct you. What happens when Silicon Valley makes idols that can speak and explain things? Probably more dangerous, but they aren't any more God. They still don't know anything that we didn't tell them. They still don't have a soul. They're dead on the inside, just like the idols of yore. They're a lot shinier on the outside and can explain, like, unit conversions and things. It's helpful. I use AI sometimes. It's not evil in itself, but like all these other things, it's a bad God. Right? It's a good tool. It's a bad God. Not a bad thing to have, but a bad thing to worship. He says ultimately, and what's interesting here is that in all of these, so you get this repeating cycle, that this is what nations do, that Assyria does this, they rise, they fall. Babylon does this, it rises, it falls. Those are the only two Habakkuk would have known, but since then, Persia has done this, it's risen and fallen. The Greeks have done this, the Romans have done this, Europe has done this. Who are the empires today? Well, it's probably China, it's probably Russia, and more than anyone, it's probably us. And what Habakkuk is saying here is not that just that then if you are prideful, you will go the way of these empires. You will put your hope and your trust in one of these things. And it's interesting that as you go through here, there's two things that happen. The one is that obviously the Lord is judging these. But the other is that they carry within themselves the seed of their own destruction. They just don't work. Scottish theologian George Adam Smith, writing about this passage in 1898, said this. I think it's incredible. Tyranny is intolerable. In the nature of things, it cannot endure, but it works out its own penalties. By oppressing so many nations, the tyrant is preparing the instrument of his own destruction. As he treats them, so in time they treat him. Tyranny is suicide. It just doesn't work. And so what is Habakkuk doing here that is so brilliant? And God speaking to Habakkuk. So here's the prophecy. The righteous will live by faith. Look at the proud. Their lives are crooked. It doesn't go well for them. The wicked's lives end up falling apart and just kind of sucking. It doesn't work. And then he says, so look at what Babylon's doing. They put their hope into wealth. Well, doing that in and of itself is going to destroy them because all their debtors are going to just turn and pillage them the same way. They put their hope into security, into their fortified cities. Well, look what's going to happen. Now they're alone, and everybody's coming for them. It's not going to work. They put their hope into violence. Well, now everybody's mad at them. It's not going to work. Plus, God's going to judge them for that. Look, they put their hope into fame and glory. Well, that goes to God, and it's not going to work. Now they've just made everybody else ashamed and hate them. The very thing they're doing to try to make themselves accepted, secure, and significant is going to lead to their destruction. It doesn't work. Doubt your doubts. Look at what they're putting their hope into. Observe the fact that they're all bad plans. And so you begin by standing on your tower and going, God, it's not fair. God, it's not good. God, I'm suffering. I don't get why. God, are you going to do justice? And the beginning of the answer is, do you have a better answer? If you do, go with it. Be honest. If you actually think you have a better answer than God, I'd be interested to talk with you about it. Maybe you changed my mind. I'm open. I think that you should be intellectually honest. I think you should pay attention to these things. I don't think you should go with God just out of some obligation or guilt, or you should do it because it actually makes the most sense. But I think what you will find over and over and over again is that when you look at the alternatives, none of them are better. God, as a solution, may not answer your every question. You may not be able to prove him from everything that happens. It may not be obvious every time. But I think you're going to struggle to find a better answer than a good God who loves you and will meet with you and talk with you and has time for you and gives your life meaning and beauty and purpose, acceptance, security, and significance. That Habakkuk ends this chapter by hinting at the solution he's going to unpack for us next week. But the Lord is in his temple, so let the rest of the world shut up. You haven't given us a better answer. You haven't given us a good solution. Just shut up. The Lord is present. He's with us. He's in his temple. We are his temple. We experience him speaking to us, answering our questions, telling us where to go, leading us in the way we should live. Does it mean we can explain everything that happens in our lives? No. Does it mean everything just obviously points to him, that always proves him? No. But it's the best solution we've ever found. Look at the righteous. They live by their faith, and their lives are good. They have acceptance from the Lord. They have security in him, even if they die. And they have significance from the one who runs the world and will meet with them on a watchtower and talk to them about it. Can you do any better than that? I don't think you can. And so that's where Habakkuk leaves us. And so if you are not coming to God like a little child, if you aren't trusting that Jesus is the one who will save you, who has come into the world for you, that God wants to know you and be known by you, to have a conversation with you, if you have something that's keeping you from trusting him that way, doubt your doubt. Look at it and just ask yourself, not like, well, this doesn't prove God. Well, maybe it doesn't. But look at your doubt and say, what am I actually putting my faith in here instead? And is it actually better than God? And if it's not, I would urge you to reconsider, because he wants to have a conversation with you and with your friends who have doubts and with your family who's not sure. And if you can take their doubts seriously and help them to see them for what they are, faith in something else, you might be able to help them see what Habakkuk is pointing out here too. The proud have crooked lives, and the righteous live by their faith, and it is well with their souls. And I think it's incredibly compelling. I really do. It's what I want for you. It's what God wants for you too. All right, pray with me, please. Well, God, we're grateful that you built a world in which, if we pay attention, it kind of points us to you, that most of our best solutions carry within them the seed of their own destruction. That when we're honest and we look at them, we have to admit that in the end, they do not work. That we just don't have a better solution to the problem of the human condition than the God who loves us sends his Son to step into that, to live through it with us, and to make a way for us to have a life together with you that provides for us the acceptance, the security, the significance that we need, and we just aren't really actually going to get any other way. And so my prayer for us is not that we would check our brains at the door, that we would just believe, that we would doubt our doubts, that we would be doubtful Christians, that we would pay attention to these things and take them seriously and find answers, and that at the end it would lead us to the faithful conclusion that there is no better solution than you. The God who loves us, meets with us, talks with us, is known by us, and knows us as well, that Jesus would be it. And that we would have faith that isn't the lack of thinking and doubt, but the culmination of it. That trusting you would honestly be for us the best and most reasonable thing that we can do. Amen and amen.
shadow. Oh God, you're near. At my breaking, oh God, you're near. And oh God, you never leave my side. And your love stands firm through all of my life. In my searching, oh God, you're near. In my wandering, oh God, you're near. When I feel alone, oh God, you're near. At my lowest, oh God, you're near. Oh God, you never leave my side. Oh, your love stands firm through all of my life. Height nor depth nor anything else could pull us apart. We are joined as one by the blood. And hope will rise as we become more than conquerors through the one who loved the world. Height nor depth nor anything else could pull us apart. We are joined as one by the blood. And hope will rise as we become more. Your conquerors through the one who loved the world. Oh God, you never leave my side. No, your love stands firm through all of my life. You never leave my side. Your love stands firm through all of my life, all of my life. Oh God, you never leave my side. Your love stands firm through all of my life, stands firm through all of my life. Oh God, you never leave my side. And your love stands firm through all of my life. And height nor depth nor anything else could pull us apart. We are joined as one by
Thank you for joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful week. Stay warm, stay safe. And as always, you didn't come to church. You are the church. So go be the church.